introduce to you Aaron and Josette and Connor. They'll come up on the bima here. But first, for those of you who don't know them, I want to tell you the story of how they come to be here, particularly on this night. They're here a lot, and we love that, and have been for many, many years part of our congregation. And their children have grown up here so beautifully. And it was exactly 1 year ago and 1 week when Bradley Rofer was riding his bike to school for the very first time. And tragically, he was hit by a car and lost his life several days later. He did the greatest mitzvah called pikuach nefesh, which is the saving of another soul. And there are those who benefit from his life, but not just in his body, in his spirit. In his spirit. One of the most thriving nonprofits in Orange County today is the Bradley Rofer Foundation, raising lots of tzedakah to help kids who are facing illness and facing struggle. It's about taking chaos and turning it into meaning. It's about taking that which seems so meaningless and making it have value. Josette and Aaron are unique individuals along with Connor, who face tragedy with dignity, with class. And by the way, that doesn't mean it isn't completely painful every day, or that there aren't moments that are tougher than any one of us could imagine. It's a club no parent wants to be in, to be sure. And I know some parents out here have experienced the loss of a child as well. But what we do with that loss is partly what defines us as human beings, and in addition, defines the people who are making that spirit come alive each and every day. You can look at the chavara of the Rofers, and most of them are wearing green. Why? Because Bradley's favorite color was green. If you happen to see the number 19, from this point forward, Bradley will be talking to you from wherever Bradley is. About once a week, I get a text from Aaron of some random car down the freeway or some baseball player wearing a number with the number 19. And we just wink at each other because we know Bradley is there. His spirit is so very much with us. And so tonight, it is with great pleasure. I wish it were for a different reason, to be sure. But with great pleasure, I wanted them to come talk tonight, because they have not only received from community, they have created community. And maybe more than any of us, not only in joyous moments like bar and bat mitzvahs, but in times of difficulty and tragedy, when we start to really understand what it means to be better together. So in that spirit, I'd like to invite Aaron, Josette, and Connor to come sit up on our bima. You can give them a round of applause, it's okay. Well, why did I know he was going to take the center seat? Of course. So thank you guys for being here. I know this is not easy to do, and by the same token, I see you doing it each and every day, reaching out to parents who are not as far along in the journey as you are, but who are suffering nonetheless. So thank you for being here. It really means a lot. This is your family. This is your community. So there's a beautiful phrase in the Talmud that says, "Al tifros minat tzibur," which means do not separate yourselves from the community. So I'd like to ask, before last year, many years ago, what made you decide to join the temple?
Well, before kids, Josette and I were looking for a home, a synagogue, and we went and traveled all around Orange County and visited with numerous rabbis and sat in services for numerous congregations. And after visiting all of them, Shir HaMalot felt like home, felt like family, and we both had that same impression. We were like, yep, this is it. Like, from the moment we got here, the warmth, the caring, you could tell how the congregants interacted with each other, that everybody really cared about each other, and that they were a family, and we felt at home from day one. And then, of course, we had children, started raising our children, and then bringing them here to services and summer camp and all types of things like that. And we made a second family. I promised I wasn't going to cry tonight.
You can cry. We're going to cry with you, brother.
Our Havara, I'll let you talk.
It was obviously the rabbi.
Yes, good answer. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Great to have you here. There you go.
After about maybe 6 months in Shir Hamalot, we were introduced to a Havara. We are the original members of the Havara with one other couple, and then our Havara grew to 6, then 8. Now it's at 9 couples, 10 couples. So it's big, it's beautiful, and we try to get together once a month, but we all have kids with all different sports and things like that. But we all attended our first bat mitzvah, and that was so much fun. We did Thanksgiving together, and Bradley passed away September 5th, and our first Thanksgiving together, there was so much love, so much compassion, so much warmth and joy where all the kids were playing, and they were in the jacuzzi just having the best of times. And in that moment, I just stepped back and I said, wow, I'm so lucky to have this family outside my family.
Thank you. So you have this beautiful chavara that and the temple that added to your life. Aaron, president of the Brotherhood. Josette volunteering. Connor having fun at camp. There you go, brother. And really enjoying it. Tell me, at the time of Bradley's death and then over the last year, what have you come to know about community that you didn't know before?
It's very interesting. The people that you think are going to reach out to you, maybe your inner circle, your best friends, family members, because they haven't experienced the type of loss that we've experienced, they actually pull themselves away. And it's people that have experienced a deep loss that will come to the surface and hold you and call you and know what to say and what not to say. And
what are some of the things people said that they shouldn't say? Just so, if you could teach us a little bit.
When somebody passes away, we don't want to know that things are going to be okay. We don't want to know that they're in a better place. We don't want to know that there's a purpose for their loss. We don't want to know any of that because we want them here with us. There is no good reason for them to be gone. What people do say is they let you sit in your grief without any judgment. They put a hand on your shoulder. I'm here for you. Not it's going to be okay, because it's not going to be okay. But I'm here for you. I hear you.
Thank you so much. Your son and your brother was a community builder himself. So Connor, can I ask you a question? Tell us about Bradley's beautiful bouquets. What was that? Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a thing that we would do, and we would give people flowers and make them happy.
And this started during what period of time? Remember?
During COVID.
That's right. People were sad and depressed, and so Bradley decided, we got to make people happy. And so he would create these beautiful bouquets, and you'd go deliver them to people, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, and brought a lot of joy to people. brought a lot of joy to people. Aaron, let me ask you, if you want, if it's okay. Growing up Jewish, right, and, becoming bar mitzvah, all that stuff, now at your age and the experiences you've had, how do you feel about the Jewish community compared to before you lost Bradley?
I'm in awe of the warmth, the love, the support that we've received from the congregation, from our rabbis, from our Havarah. In your darkest moments, when you don't know what to do or how you're going to get through the next day, and you have your brothers, your sisters from Temple that are with you from what seemed like minutes after the accident, rabbis at the hospital with us, our friends at the hospital, bedside with Bradley, supporting us for a really, really rough 5 days when he was on life support. And we were begging for a miracle, and there wasn't one. And just having the guidance of the rabbis and making really, really tough choices. Having Havarah to watch your son during those days, Rabbi taking him to our friend's house.
We did a McDonald's run too, just for the record.
McDonald's, and
I won't tell you.
Connor had his own private chauffeur over to our friend's house, and just the love and warmth and support. And it's not something that can be fixed, but just knowing that there's people there to support you and be there for you.
Beautiful, thank you. Josette, your son Bradley, and Connor, I should say, had this tradition, at least with me, and I know with several other people, when it was my birthday, they would play me Happy Birthday on the piano and send me a video via a Facebook Messenger. And it was always a highlight of my birthday, as I know other people's as well. Because Bradley, in particular, and Connor as well, he had a spirit of building relationships. Could you tell us a little bit about where do you think that came from and what the message is for us who are alive and here on this earth that we should take from your son, Bradley?
Bradley and Connor, both of them are absolutely amazing when it comes to empathy and compassion. You see Connor sitting here and he's hugging his dad and he's making sure that he's okay, and that's how he's been since, he's been like that always, but since Bradley passed away, he's really taken the time to be so compassionate. And I think, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked a little bit, but I think when you go through a loss as great as losing a child, you have to focus on the blessings. Of course, we would give anything to have Bradley here with us, but out of Bradley's passing, there has been so many beautiful gifts. And one of the biggest gifts is Connor and his role in the foundation, and him as a human being. He has blossomed and grown and become such a mensch. And so Rabbi talked about the foundation, and one of the biggest things that we do is we give to families, 2 families a month, sometimes more. We interview them. They're all in Orange County, and these children have leukemia, heart transplants, just a lot of rough things going on with them. And when we deliver the check and we deliver this gift basket, Connor just says, "Hey, how are you doing? Can I help you open up your gift? Let's play with some of these toys." And he just has this ability to let the children be children. I know that wasn't the question.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
but I just wanted to talk about some of the gifts that have come from our tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
What was the question?
I don't know, but you had me at the beautiful mitzvahs that the foundation is doing. And I just, knowing Bradley all his life, know that that foundation is filled with his spirit. He lives in a very real way in the mitzvahs that are being done by that foundation.
My relationship with my higher power has shifted over and over and over again. In the moment that I lost Bradley, I was mad at God. But then I realized that God didn't do that. God did not do that. It was a complete accident. It was complete random. And I know because there's been so many amazing people that have come into our lives, I know that God works through people. And every time I start to doubt our ability to create something or do something, the golf tournament, the honor walk, the pro-am, a tennis tournament, there's this moment where I just see these beautiful things happening, an orchestra of events happening to make it possible. And that's where I see Bradley or God guiding everything. Since the foundation has started, we've helped over 55 local kids in Orange County. And we've raised over $500,000
Wow.
for the foundation.
Unbelievable. Aaron, tell us about the PBS special that was done. I think people might be interested in that because Josette's talking about theology, which we touched upon in that documentary, in that program, but it also talks a lot about the foundation. So just tell us a bit about that.
So the PBS episode was a 30-minute episode that aired a few months back. It's available online if you want to stream it later. It was a beautiful way to honor Bradley, we felt, and tell everybody about his life and who he was as a kid, and then what the foundation is, how it was inspired, and what we're doing. And so we talked about Bradley's story, and for those of you who don't know, when he was 5 and 6 years old, he started his different sales ventures. His very first time was my dad's 80th birthday, which was about 5 years ago. And we were finishing up a birthday dinner for my dad at a Chinese restaurant in LA, and Bradley is going around collecting everybody's fortune cookies and putting them in a plastic bag. And I said, Bradley, what are you doing? And he said, I'm collecting the fortune cookies because when I get home, I'm going to set up a fortune cookie stand, and instead of selling lemonade, I'm going to sell fortune cookies. And so we said, wow, that's a wonderful idea. We should do that. And so when we got home the next day, we made a sign, and we went out in front of our house, and he sold the fortune cookies. And I've told this story to some of you, and our neighbors were wonderful. They were so gracious, and they all wanted to buy fortune cookies, and he was so excited, and he made all this money. So that was kind of the beginning of his sales business. And then from there, it turned into flowers, and he used, which flowers were they?
I have these lovely hydrangeas in the back of my house that nobody can see. And I told Bradley, I said, Bradley, when my flowers bloom, you can sell them. And they bloomed, and he remembered. He goes, Mom, can I sell your hydrangea? Can I sell your flowers? Yes, you can sell my flowers. We posted them on our community Facebook page, and we had 7, and we got like 15 orders. And I look at Bradley, I'm like, Bradley, we're onto something. Let's go buy some flowers.
Too great.
But it was about a week or so later, I was putting Bradley to bed. And we do a lot of pillow talk at night. And I had my phone with me, and I was scrolling, and there was a GoFundMe post for a little boy. His name was Connor, like Connor. And he was 2 years old, and he was diagnosed with leukemia. And I was reading the story to Bradley, and I said, Bradley, this is so sad. And he's like, yeah. I was like, should we donate? He's like, yeah, we should. And then he goes, I can sell flowers. I was like, that's a great idea. He goes, yeah, I'll sell flowers and we'll raise money for him. Great. So we went with it. And we ended up selling $800 worth of flowers, which was phenomenal and a lot of work. And I said, Bradley, I was putting him to bed again, and we were doing our pillow talk, and I said, Bradley, we made $800. And he goes, Mom, I want to make 1,000. I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And so we continued, and we ended up raising $1,800 for him. While we were delivering flowers for him, we met another boy. His name was Baby Bam, and Baby Bam had cancer, and he had a brain tumor. And the mom had been crying when she answered the door, and she was so overjoyed with Bradley's presence and said, and just like talked to him and told him about the baby and how he changed her whole day, and it was really sweet. And we're walking back to the car, and Bradley looks at me, he's like, Mom, I want to raise money for BAM next. I was like, oh boy, here we go. So we ended up raising $1,300 for him.
Wow. That is,
So one of the things that we did is we made these really cute videos, and we would send them to all the neighbors or in the community page. And I had asked Connor, I asked Bradley, I said, Bradley, what was your favorite part of the flowers? He goes, delivering the flowers. I was like, that's great. And I said, Connor, what's your favorite part? What was your favorite part?
Making the kids happy, making the parents happy.
He told me making the videos, but he changed his mind. I'm making the videos.
so my last question for you guys, and I'm so appreciative with your vulnerability and your honesty. That's what you can be around family. You've had a lot of tragedy this year, beginning with Bradley, and then Josette, you lost your mom, and Aaron just a couple months ago lost your dad, and an uncle just passed away as well, I understand. So it's a lot of tragedy. Tell us how you go day to day. What's the secret of going day to day with that heaviness?
I think death is our greatest teacher. I think it teaches you how precious life is, how things can change in the blink of an eye or an instant. And I've noticed that people who have suffered the tragedies that we've suffered actually really enjoy life and find a way to make everything meaningful and special, because everything is. And so you do have to wake up and choose to live and choose to be happy and choose to live life, but you realize that it's so precious and so fragile. And so to make the most of it and to tell your friends and family that you love them and spend as much time as you can with your kids and your friends and take the trips, experience all the experiences. But don't do it just for the experiences, because you should be having fun no matter what you're doing or where you're at. Even the smallest things that don't seem important, like going to grab lunch together or something like that, or just the talk in the car, like all those little things are the big things.
Amen. Josette, what about for you?
Ask the question again.
Given all the heaviness of this past year, how do you make it each day? What's the trick?
In the beginning, it was reading. Reading all the grief books. Reading allowed me to articulate my feelings. It allowed me to identify my feelings and express them. And it just let me know that other people felt that, and there was also more to it. And you would find a lot of solution in the books. I remember this one that I read. It's called First Brush Your Teeth. And she lost her son, and she had a ring, and she said, what would honor Chandler? Chandler was her son's name. What would honor Chandler? And, when I would wake up, it's like, what would honor Bradley? What can I do today to honor him? If I lay in bed and cry, that's not going to honor him. So get up, try to go to the gym, and try to do the laundry. When the grief hit so heavy and I felt paralyzed, I would turn to writing, and that was a beautiful outlet to express all these inner emotions that were so intense. And when the big days, my birthday, his anniversary, the day he was hit, I've noticed that being of service really gets me out of self, and it makes me feel good, and it keeps my brain occupied. So for my birthday, I went over to my neighbor's house, and I did her garden. And then for Bradley's death anniversary, I went to the snack shack, which is on the baseball field, and I cleaned it and gutted it, and the thing was horrendous. But doing those, it makes me feel that I'm doing something, and that's been huge.
Well, that's amazing. In the spirit of community, your Chavara has a presentation for you, so I call upon my friend Brandon Mitchell for these words and presentation. Yep, right here. Brandon, you forgot the presentation.
I got the presentation.
Oh, yeah. Let's
One
give
thing
him
at a time. Okay. Sorry. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. I need one of those. I'm going to need a headpiece like you have. Our Havara knows what it means to be better together. We are better when we have simchas and joys to celebrate as a group. We are better together when someone in our Havara gets sick, and we even help out when extended family members need support as well. We are better together when there are losses in the family, and our Havara came together to support Aaron, Josette, and Connor in the hardest time of their lives when Bradley passed. Bradley has left a lasting impression that is helping so many children's lives each and every day through Bradley's beautiful bouquets and now the Bradley Rofer Foundation. To honor his short yet fulfilling life, our Havara came together and wanted to mark the yahrzeit or anniversary of his death in a beautiful, lasting way that many people at SHM will benefit from. With this in mind, I almost made it. With this in mind, we're gifting SHM with a beautiful silver yod or Torah pointer that will be used for our high holy days so that everyone who receives the honor of reading from the Torah will be able to hold Bradley's memory in their hands on the most holy days of the year. On this yod, it reads, "In loving memory of our beloved Bradley Rofer," beautiful, shiny, amazing. Shabbat Shalom.
Pal. Thank you all very much.